So he's working because he knows that whatever I get, it has to come through the stick, through the cross. It's only the cross that can give you what belongs to you. If a stick is not involved, the enemy will keep on plundering you and taking away from you what belongs to you. He will never, listen to me now. So he's working on the stick. It wasn't just one stick. So what he did was to take those sticks and then throw them into water. And he said, let them come and drink. And as they were drinking, I remember some years back when I preached from that chapter, and it triggered a lot of controversy when I was saying that they conceived and they brought forth within 3 days. And pastors were saying, never, there's nothing like that. I tried by all means to show them from verse to verse. But Laban had left, went on a 3-day journey. And when he came back after 3 days, he realized that Jacob had already gone. So whatever happened between day number 1 and day number 3. And they came and they were drinking. As they were drinking in chapter 31, verse number 10. Verse number 10. Okay, look at this now. What made them to conceive? Look at that. And it came to pass. Now he's giving you details. Some of you know, he's now telling you what exactly happened. Look at that. It's amazing. It will shock you, I'm telling you. And it came to pass at the time that the cattle conceived, that I lifted up mine eyes and saw in a... You seeing this in a... Dream. But were they drinking in the dream? They were drinking water physically. But as they were drinking water, don't continue reading, listen to what I'm saying now. As they were drinking, right, water physically, he then slept. Maybe he was sitting somewhere there as they were drinking, and then he began to see in a dream. Which means what is happening there, if you go to that place physically, you were never going to see what was happening, but it was one man in a dream able to see the other side of life. And it was in that dream, you can put it back, it was in that dream, I lifted up mine eyes, he lifted them up, not down. Which means what he's about to see now is coming from a spiritual realm. It's coming from the above. And I lifted up mine eyes, and I saw in a dream, and behold the rams, which leaped upon the cattle were ring-streaked and speckled and grizzled. And then God said, I am the God of Bethel. Let me explain that again. So he's seeing cattle that are spotted, but the ones that are spotted are in the spirit. Yes. Yeah. You see another Genesis chapter number 6 there, which is approved by God. And yet it's amazing how people never talk of that. They don't see that. Yeah. It's a ram. It's a bull in the spirit coming to interact with physical women. And what was, listen to me now, it's happening there. Right there. And they are able to release a seed into a physical cattle, which is grizzled and ring-stricken. And the kind of the seed, it only takes 3 days for that kind of a seed, because it's a spiritual one. It's a hybrid. So right there, if you want to argue with me on chapter 6 of the book of Genesis, let's talk about this particular chapter now. You see again the spirit coming down to meet with the daughters of the cattle, right there. And they conceived. But this one is because God had permitted it. Which means the spirit can cause the natural to conceive and to multiply. And then he said, I'm the God of Bethel. Why is he making a reference to Bethel? Bethel, remember, that was the place where he went and it was evening and he slept and he saw a ladder. Why is he saying, I'm the God of Bethel? It's because there's a reason why he's saying, I'm the God of Bethel. Because it was in Bethel where Jacob once again had his first dream. And when he was sleeping, he saw there was a ladder touching the ground and also touching the heavens.
You have to underline that.
Which means it was a revelation of the divine coming together with humanity. Now let me show you something. There was a ladder from the earth, physical, into heaven, the spiritual. And angels were coming down and going up on that physical ladder. Okay, these are spiritual beings going up and coming down in a dream. And he never knew the meaning, the interpretation of that revelation. Until now, when you see some spirits, kettles that are coming from the higher dimension to interact with the physical and causing conception. Already God was telling him in Bethel, in that dream that he saw in Bethel, already God was already telling him that there will come a time, my son, when I will connect the heavens with the earth. There shall be a connection, which means God had already given him a revelation of that contact, physical contact, that connection between earth and heaven, that it's going to happen during your time, where you can have transactions right from the spirit down to earth. I don't know how to explain this, please. I don't know how to explain this to you. I don't know how to explain this to you. That's why some of you sit down. That's why some of you are finding it difficult to believe that even yourself as a spirit, you can create something. Because you always think that you are limited by this flesh. Take, for instance, a spiritual God coming down to meet with a physical God. And a physical God conceives and it brings forth. And what is coming out of a physical God looks exactly like what I've seen on the spiritual God. Which means in the spiritual God, there is a seed that can be transferred into a physical God. And a physical God can carry a spiritual seed that can grow within 3 days. Spiritual seeds are much more powerful than physical seeds. Oh. So he looked up and he saw, which means right there, as they were drinking water, there was a ladder, a connection between the spirit and the physical. Why then are we broke? A demon that once possessed a Nephilim.
For every cause.
And because the body
you have to underline
is
that
taken
because I'm
away,
going to deal with that part.
It will
every
start
cause.
its search and never rest until it finds its next house, its next accommodation. They are desperate to just enter into flesh. Listen to me now. Open your eyes, because you are dealing with a creature that cannot live outside of a physical body. It can't go to heaven. It has to remain on earth and expressing its own ambitions and desires. But it's not allowed to do that unless it gets into a physical body. Angels that fell from heaven, they are not desperate for physical bodies. Those ones are managing directors. The kingdom of the devil is such an organized kingdom, right from the generals to the private. It's an organized kingdom. That's why the Bible talks about principalities, powers, and rulers, and authorities, and so on. And those angelic beings, when they were cast down from heaven, down to earth, they can assume anybody, which means when God sent that first flood, he never killed even one angel. The flood only affected the physical people. Even the flood of Noah, it also affected the physical people. Just like when the men with a legion of demons, when these demons were cast into the pigs straight away, they went into the sea and they died. But demons never died together with those pigs. They also came out to find another accommodation. So even the flood of Noah, when the flood killed every Nephilim, the spirits that were possessing those giants came out of those bodies. And up to now, it is causing havoc. Because they are desiring to express themselves, because they also have feelings.